Hey guys, it's Diabetic Girl. Today I want to talk about traveling with your diabetes, but first I have a couple of things I would like to share with you that I'm very excited about. So for those of you who haven't seen my past couple of videos, which are Ordering Through Edgepark Part 1, Ordering Through Edgepark Part 2, and my hospitalization story, because they all kind of tie together, I will finally have a new pump. It will be here on Thursday. Today's Monday. So I'm very excited about that. That's one less thing I have to worry about now. Yeah. And then also, just as a heads up, the next couple of weeks are going to be a little bit crazy, trying to get vlogs done and trying to get ready to celebrate my 20th birthday and a couple of other really, really important things. Also, I have booked Kai and I tickets for a diabetes, seminar in 2 weeks, so I will definitely be talking to you guys about those. And I also really want to share my nails, so I'm wicked excited. So these are nail wraps. They are from Scratch, which is a monthly subscription. You get a box with 3 nail wraps and the stuff to do them, and these are actually last month's. They're inspired by a China doll, or the Russian dolls, that's what I was looking for. And since my February one hasn't come in yet, I decided to go ahead and go with this, and I'm really, really excited with how they look. Also, my bracelet should be here tomorrow. I work until 6, but I'll try to do an unboxing video, after work. So yeah, I'm very excited about all of that. So, today's video, as I said before, traveling with type 1 diabetes. So, oh, wait, before I get into it, I also have a question. When I start with my new pump, since I have, all new sensor features and stuff, if you guys want me to do, a day in the life video and, film every time my thing goes off and edit it together, comment down below. I'm probably going to end up doing it anyways, but I want your input, because I just want to see how this new pump works, I suppose. So just let me know down below what you think and what you want to see. And if you have anything that you want to see that I haven't mentioned, go ahead and comment down below once again. If you have not seen the 3 videos I talked about at the beginning, I will post those in the description so you can watch them, and I'm very excited. This is going to be good. So, anyways, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about traveling through diabetes, as I said before. So, a lot of you probably don't know this, but I haven't actually traveled by plane since I was 6. So, the last time I traveled, or the most recent time, was last summer when I went to Maryland. So I'm going to talk about that experience and some stuff I could have done differently. The shirt is so weird. I am so sorry, guys. Stuff I could have done differently while traveling, because I definitely made a lot of mistakes. But I figured you guys can learn from my mistakes, hopefully. So, yeah. I'm going to scooch my chair a little bit closer. I don't know what's going on today. I'm all over the place. So, I went to Maryland the first week of August. My bus took off at 12:30 in the morning on August 5th, and that was from Boston to New York. And I didn't sleep much on that bus, which was absolutely terrible, because then I was a miserable mess the rest of the time, in New York, and it was just terrible. So, packing. I literally packed 2 days before we left. I'm amazed that I managed to, remember absolutely everything, because I was a mess. So when I packed a box of pump sites, a box of reservoirs, a couple bags of syringes. I had a vial and a half of insulin. I had the sticky tape, and I had glucose tabs. Now, in my carry-on, I had glucose tabs, a couple of pump sites, a couple of reservoirs, and I had the half vial of insulin on me, just to be safe. Then Kai had a box of sites, a box of reservoirs. I put some syringes in his suitcase, and then he had a vial of insulin, and then on his carry-on he had pump supplies and reservoirs and glucose tabs. So no matter what we were doing, we had enough stuff to very easily get us through the 14-hour commute. I also had 600 test strips. I forgot to mention them 20 seconds ago, but we had enough to get us through the commute that we were going. Now, for those of you who have taken bus before, you know there isn't like a ton of security with the bus, so it's very easy to get your diabetes supplies in and out. I obviously had a doctor's note because I wanted to be safer than sorry, so I had that, and we were just ready to go. Now, my first mistake out of all of this was that I literally checked at like 7-ish in the morning when we got to Philadelphia because we were eating breakfast, and I should have been checking more consistently. I remember my blood sugar being kind of high, and so I should have checked a bit more consistently as I went about my travels, but I didn't because, again, most of my traveling was done during the time I would be asleep. That isn't an excuse, but I should have been more on top of it. So I checked when we were in Philadelphia, and then I didn't check again until we were in, I believe, Hagerstown, Maryland. And I was high, so then I was, kind of upset about that. And for those of you who don't know, I was in Cumberland, which is about 3 hours from Baltimore. So it was a lot of driving. And, okay, funny story time, because who doesn't love a funny story? So, we were on, like, an older highway, and we were definitely in Hagerstown at this point in time, and there was, like, traffic everywhere, and for those of you who don't know, I don't like traffic, I don't do traffic, and I was like, oh my god. So then Kai's like, oh my god, guys, we can take this back road. Yeah, that back road led to, like, a ravine, and we could have died. And then, so we, like, did that adventure, and it was, like, adrenaline pumping, and then I was, like, dead after that. I, like, fell asleep the rest of the car ride into Cumberland. And then when I, like, woke up for, like, the last hour, and I'm so glad I did, because driving into Cumberland is so pretty. For those of you who, like, don't know Boston, it's, like, very city-ish, and the suburb that I'm in from the Boston area is very city-like. So this was just gorgeous. And then we, like, got to Kai's mom's house in Cumberland, and we took, like, a 3-hour nap, and then we showered, and, like, we went out. We were staying with his sister, so we went to the mall because I forgot socks. Of course I forgot socks. So we went to the mall so I could get socks. And then Kai and I got matching t-shirts, which I think I've worn that t-shirt in a video. We have a lot of matching band t-shirts, actually. It just kind of happened. So then, after that, we went to his sister's house and settled in, and I was, like, moving out all my diabetes stuff, and it was wicked funny because I had no idea what was in his suitcase. He just said he had packed supplies. So he, like, opens his suitcase and pulls out, like, boxes of supplies, and I'm like, oh my god, you are the best. So then so before we went to his sister's house, we went to this, like, local ice cream shop, and it was so amazing. Like, we didn't even eat dinner, but hell, we had ice cream, and it was so good. My blood sugars were back under control then, but I definitely did not give enough insulin. Whoops. So definitely, like, carb counting and, like, giving correct insulin is something I definitely need to work on, and it's really important to do that kind of stuff when you're on a trip because you're just in a very unfamiliar environment. So, yeah. Now, when we get to his sister's house and we're, like, unpacking and just kind of going at it, his friends are like, oh my god, you're home, like, let's go out tonight. And I'm like, oh, yay, going out. And what I didn't realize is that when his friends say going out, they all go to, like, one person's house and, like, get drunk and, like, talk to one another. And it was really awkward for me because, like, first of all, I'm not old enough to drink. I mean, like, I could have dranken if I wanted to, but because I wasn't familiar with this group of people yet, I didn't want to take any chances. I also didn't want to think with my diabetes. For those of you who don't know, when you get drunk and you go low, you immediately have to go to the hospital because your liver is too busy processing out the toxins from the alcohol. So when you go low, there is no way in hell you're coming back up naturally. Just an FYI. So I, like, didn't want to drink because I was nervous from that. So we are all, like, sitting around just talking, and everyone's like, oh my god, Kai's home! And I'm just, like, sitting in the corner like, huh? First of all, we were the first people there, and his friend that we were at, the friend's house we were at, had seen pictures of me on Facebook. And I walked in, and he's like, oh, Kai's girlfriend, whose name I don't know. I'm like, it's okay, now we're, like, best friends. But it was really funny. And then, like, there were some people who were there that, like, I was friends with on Facebook, and, like, I was meeting them for the first time. And they're like, oh my god! And I'm like, oh, hi, how are you? Not like that, I swear, not like that. And so, you know, but a lot of the time, it wasn't actually just, like, going out. Like, we were just kind of had someone's house. Although that Thursday we did go out for Mexican food and my blood sugars were like spot on. The other thing too that I found was that because I was going to bed at like 3 in the morning and waking up at like 7, my blood sugars would always go low in the middle of the night, or I would wake up low and it was like the worst thing in the world. I went through so many glucose tabs while we were there. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I was, like, so mad, and there was, like, nothing, like, I didn't want to adjust basals because I didn't know if it was just because of the sleep schedule I was on. I also wasn't really on top of my diabetes that, like, at the time leading up to that. So there was just a lot of things going wrong there. And obviously, like, we handled it, but it was totally not fun. And for those of you who don't know either, in Cumberland, nightlife doesn't start until, like, 11 o'clock at night, which is basically my bedtime. So I was, like, an old little lady, like, no. So I took a lot of naps during the day, and like there are so many beautiful places up there. And like for those of you who don't know, obviously weird sleep schedules can mess with your diabetes, and I should have been more on top of it and checked more often and been more on top of my carb counting. You know, like me traveling, like this was the first time I traveled in a while, and like there isn't a time difference or anything, but it's definitely important to still stay on top of it, or even be more on top of it than I was, and, like, Kai and I are pretty on top of it. And, like, that entire trip was a ton of fun. I may have gotten slightly tipsy twice on that trip, and, you know, we were so careful with it because we knew that it could seriously mess up my diabetes, and, like, my blood sugars were high when I was drinking, so we were giving injections and then, like, checking 2 hours later, and it was just, there were so many things wrong with that picture because I just didn't know enough. And, you know, we did some research, like, when we got back to his sister's house and found so much out. And, like, you have to give a modified bolus, which obviously I had no idea how to do. Didn't know how to bolus for any of this stuff. So it was really, like, just sort of guesstimating, and that is so terrible. I wish I hadn't have done it. I mean, obviously my blood sugars were, like, fine. I feel okay. I felt okay, but I should have been so much more careful with it. And, like, that is my first biggest regret of this trip, and now we're hopefully going back soon, so like now I know what to do. It was just a lot to take in, and everyone there is like so wonderful. Like I literally like always look forward to going back, and then leaving was also like absolutely terrible. So for those of you who don't know, it's like a 14-hour bus ride, and you know, the entire way back I think I checked like twice, which is not okay at all. But it was such an experience, you know, trying to get everything in and, like, doing all the stuff we were doing. And sure, my diabetes care wasn't the best, but, like, I still had such a great time. But, like, I wish it was better then because I would have had an even better time, you know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely, you know, now that I'm back on track with everything, it's definitely going to be better when we go back, and I'm really looking forward to it. And, yeah. Traveling can be so stressful, too. Like, I learned that, and, like, try not to stress about it, because it's literally only going to make your blood sugar so much worse. Like, stress and blood sugar do not mix well. So, seriously, don't stress, like, ridiculous amounts, but then don't be, like, really chillax about it either. You know, make sure that the person you're with is just as equally grounded on your diabetes care, and you really should be able to handle it. I mean, I didn't stress too much this time around because it was just a bus. I'm sure that when we fly in, I think we said either May or October, I'll probably be a lot more stressed about it. But there are definitely ways to go about it. You know, making sure you don't stress, making sure your partner's on the same page as you, making sure they have stuff for you and you have stuff for you, just because you never know what's going to happen. Making sure you're keeping constant track of your blood sugar. Please, please, please do not be like me. Do not be that idiot. I am begging you. Do not be that idiot. Plain and simple, because I was terrible, and like, sure, I had a fun time, but I would have even more fun if I was in the care I'm in now. And always have fun. If you don't have fun, what's the point of traveling? You know what I'm saying? So that was my quick little story time and video about travel. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.